First, it's time for a couple of holy mackerel stories in today's news. A country threatening war is always a scary thing. That's always scary. But when that country threatening war has nuclear weapons, maybe, and you also have nuclear weapons, what is being threatened is not just your run-of-the-mill war. What's being threatened is nuclear war, which is no fun even on a Friday. North Korea is apparently very upset that South Korea is engaging in military exercises with us. These joint military exercises, these war games, we do them every year with South Korea. And every year, North Korea's dear leader, Kim Jong-il, gets his big green pants in a bunch over them. This year, though, through their official news agency, the North Koreans have released a press release one-upping their usual outrage. They are characterizing the exercise as, quote, an exercise for invasion to trigger a nuclear war. You should also know that South Korean airlines are actually diverting passenger flights now after the North Korean government made the announcement that it could no longer guarantee the safety of South Korean passenger planes anywhere near its airspace. Wow, surly much? But South Korea is not backing down. The joint U.S.-South Korean military exercises are still a go. They have the ridiculous code names Full Eagle and Key Resolve. They start on Monday. They will last 11 days, unless they start a nuclear war, in which case they'll end sooner. Also, as you know, the United States has been holding a man named Ali Al-Mahri in custody on U.S. soil since December 2001. He's the guy who sort of looks like Yanni, with the sad, very pre-war on terror mullet. Mr. Al-Mahri is a native of Qatar. He was living in the United States legally when he was detained on terrorism allegations. In 2003, the Bush administration labeled him an enemy combatant. Enemy combatant is, of course, the term the administration pulled out of its thin air in order to justify imprisoning people indefinitely without trials, the way the Constitution says you cannot. So what's happening with Mr. Al-Mahri's case? As we have discussed on this show, he is still in a Navy brig in South Carolina. We've been waiting to hear whether or not the Supreme Court would hear his case. It should be a no-brainer. Indefinite detention was one of the most far-reaching, constitution-shredding legal claims made by the Bush administration. The only issue here, the complication, is that the Obama administration announced charges against Mr. Al-Mahri last week. We covered that story with Jane Mayer of The New Yorker. Moving him to criminal custody as opposed to wacky enemy combatant custody meant that Mr. Al-Mahri will get his day in court. He finally will have charges brought against him. He will finally have the opportunity to defend himself. He will also have the opportunity to be convicted if the evidence warrants. Taking that into consideration, the Supreme Court has now decided to not decide the enemy combatant case that was against him. In other words, we are left without a Supreme Court ruling on the whole idea of a president being able to label somebody an enemy combatant and detain them indefinitely. This is probably good news for the Obama administration if they did not want to have to weigh in on the issue. But it is probably bad news for anyone who is hoping that no American president would ever have the right to do this again, even if, like Barack Obama, you think that the president might not want to do that. Relying on the good graces of whoever is president not to consolidate power in the executive branch and therefore abuse power, I don't really want to trust anyone. Not President Bush, not President Obama, not Captain Kangaroo with that kind of authority.